Hello, Brussels. I like that squeaky noise. Okay, Brussels, where are you? Come on, Brussels. Oh, hi, FX Null. Brussels will join us in 1 second. How are you doing? Afex Technol. So you may find Brussels may sound, I think Brussels in Canada are very similar in many ways. Now, I only talked with Canada really once in my life, and I've talked to Brussels a few times, so my memory might be a little bit off, but I do remember thinking that they sounded very much like they were coming from the same point of view. So you may see that, hear that in, oh wow. Oh, here's Brussels. Add to stream. Hello, Brussels. Oh, goodbye, Brussels. He'll be here in a second, I presume. Did you have a crew cut? And was it all your mammalian hair or just the stuff on the top of your head? Did you do cold turkey or have it coiffed in some way? Okay, well, you said all your hair cut off. All your hair. I assume that's what you meant, but so did you get it? The hair on your head, is it all is like a crew cut, or are you somehow? Here's Brussels.
Hi, Pierre.
Hello, Brussels. There's your hand.
There's my hand, and I tried to turn my camera to this so that you can see the paper that I'm writing on.
There is a way to do it. I think what you'd have to do, there's a little.
Question is just how.
There's a little gear that says cam mic.
Yes. Oh, yeah, camera, and then back camera.
That's how it works. Perfect.
Lovely.
So the other person that's in the room right now is Afextanol, Mitch, who you might remember. from
In-
a while ago, and he and Canada are really good buddies. And Canada and you, Brussels, I think, are very similar to how you think about pens. So Effexinol will see uh, if he thinks that you and Canada are similar. So anyway, we have an audience of 1 so far.
Lovely. Hello, Effexinol. We didn't have the chance to talk yet, but I up here, and every once in a while I join the chats. Recently, though, I didn't have much time to do so.
Yeah.
So I'm not up to date to the latest
Okay.
conversations and topics.
Well, I know
But
Brussels
I recently received your pens.
Yes, I know. Well, so this is the deal for people in the audience. I sent Brussels pens on the same day that I sent them to Canada, and Canada got them in a few
A month ago.
days and
Well,
a month ago, and you didn't get them until, I mean, they were nearly 2 months, right?
nearly 2 months,
Something
actually.
like
Yeah,
that.
that's correct.
And they were in Europe, in fact Brussels, but they just were being held by the customs department for some reason for way too long.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, and I can't even, let's see if I can remember the pens that you got. So you can bring one of them out at a time. Is that okay?
Let's start
that
with
one.
this one.
Yes, that one I remember. Okay, so that is the wall, and that one did not have the story to tell, right?
That's correct. It told another story.
It tells another story. Okay. And what story does that tell?
And actually, well, it's still the same nib, though, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
You
But
you just migrated this nib into
that pen,
a different barrel, because the other one had
a
too
story
many issues.
to tell, and but that's a lovely nib in there.
Yes.
And that was you. I think you had a ladies' wall before that, right? Or it was a ladies' Waterman. I think it was not from me.
It was. You mean one of my Sterling pens, maybe?
Yeah. You had one of those pens in Sterling. Yeah, and here you were going to get a big boy one.
Exactly. So
And
that's a big brother.
How does the big brother work to you? How do you like it?
Oh, it's really lovely. I have to say. I mean, I'm really fond of these all metal pens, be it Sterling or this gold-filled ones. It's heavier than I thought. So I really like that. It feels substantial. It's got a nice weight to it.
Yeah, it is. It is a massive pen. It has more mass.
It's a massive pen, yes.
I think, than other pens, even though it's thinner and everything. But it feels like there's more mass to it, so it feels heavier. And you're a poster.
With these pens I am. I like it. I like the tactile feel of posting these pens, because they are so snug. Yeah, well, they're just really nicely snug. Yeah, nicely machined, and it's a lovely feeling. And they give this pen a balance that makes it easier for me to really draw or write really thin lines. Maybe thinner than I would be able to if I use unposted, but you can use this one.
It's long enough to use
unposted as well. I mean, it's long enough. It's long enough, definitely.
Yeah, good. So let me see if I can remember another pen. So we'll set that one aside for the moment. Let's just go down the list. And these are not in any order. They're just my memory. And then we have a Skyline pen in solid black, I think. Solid black. So let's.
Nearly.
And that one, And that one had
navy blue.
Is it navy blue? Okay. And that one has
it's navy blue, but
yeah. And that one has, I think, a nib that I thought was going to be good for sketching. A little bit flexible, very rounded. I mean, smooth rather. And how does that one
it's
feel?
a smooth nib.
I mean, I thought
it's actually the nib has I would it's, as you said, it's slightly flexible. That's what I like very much, and that's also what sets it apart from another Skyline that I have in my little collection here.
Okay.
Because this one, where do I have it? This one has a similarly shaped nib.
Okay.
But it's just really rigid in comparison.
Okay. So the one you got from me is is more flexible. And so that one I was thinking you might like to draw with, because you were talking about the idea of maybe drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that would be a good one to carry around with you, and you could sort of push it in the wrong direction. And Affectional will have you join shortly. I just want to have him show all of the pens just with the bigger screen. Affectional might like to join us and say hello too. So, sure. Okay, so that it looks like it really wants to just be, say, one thickness. It doesn't, but it does have a little bit of give to it, doesn't it?
It does have a little bit of give to it. Interestingly, it has actually, I think it has a certain sweet spot, so I have to hold it in the right angle, but I do like that.
I find pens that have a circular or a spherical ball on them that are broader than fine. You do have to be a little bit more careful to keep it on its toes, because if you turn it to the side, it won't work. Let's try the other one on my brain. We have an Esterbrook, and it was in.
We do have an Esterbrook.
Blue or silver. Am I remembering correctly?
It was in silver, and you might be surprised by the nib that I actually have now put into it, because you sent it along with two additional nibs.
Yeah.
The original one, I have it here in this. No, it's down here in the drawer. Here we go. So the Esterbrook came with these three nibs basically.
Yeah.
I think that's the original nib that you put into it. It's It's got the number 9,555.
Yeah, that's a good number.
And you told me these are ones, the nicer ones. Mm-hmm.
Our 9,000 number.
And then it's one. Then one from the 2000 series. So you said that's the kind of the normal ones that you more frequently find. And actually, for me, the as it turns out, the nicest one is this stub nib that is not an Esterbrook nib, but compatible to it.
Hold on 1 second. Yes.
Sure.
Hello. Hi. I don't right now, but I can in maybe a half hour or so. Yeah, sure. Okay, great. Bye. Sorry. Those nibs I got from someone. I don't know what pen company made them, but they fit into the Esterbrook things perfectly. So I would, I think I might have bought 3 or 4 dozen of them, and they're not gold nibs, but they're gold in color, and they're really smooth, and they're stubs. So they're really fun.
Oh yeah, and really smooth. It's a really, really pleasant feeling writing with this one. So is writing with this fine 9,000 series nib.
Yeah.
So
well, they're all.
So I already played around a little bit.
You can spend the rest of your life if you want to and collect all the different nib kinds, Esterbrook nib types. The stub nib might be an Osmeroid Affectional. I don't know. I don't think it's marked with anything. Okay.
It says, let me just try to read it out. Smooth line, broad, USA. That's all it says.
Okay. Let's now go to another pen. I know you have the Waterman Ripple, right?
Oh, yes, I do. And
Yes,
this one is actually a really, really lovely small pen.
yeah, and the nib, if I remember correctly, is just really springy and fun. If I remember, I may not though.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
It's very, very fine. It's flexible, but you know, it's not it's not. I mean, it's how shall I describe it?
It's an al
It's
dente
soft,
noodle. It's not a
but
wet noodle.
it's
The noodle
yeah.
is al dente.
It's not a wet noodle. You can really you can control it very easily. I love that I can actually also draw really extra fine lines with it. It has a very precise feeling to it. But if I wanted to, I can really also in small spaces write expressively. So
Good. Yeah, that was really sweet. That was a pen that I got into my hot little hands like a few days before I sent them out. And Affextanol, I got this from the same guy that I got the Mont Blanc that I sold you. It was a pen collector friend of mine who traded me a cow, a magic cow for some beans or something. I forget who got the beans and who got the cow at the end, but no, he got a very nice dip pen nib, and we didn't trade at all. He gave me the pens to sell for him. That's what it is. So I did sell that one to you, Brussels, and I sold the other one to one of the other ones to Affextanol. But had that been in my collection any longer, it would have stayed there. I just didn't have enough time to play with it. In both of those cases.
Lucky me, that was actually quite unexpected. So because we already had
your pile all ready to go.
Completed the selection. Yeah.
I had to redo the label to make it work. Okay, then the other Waterman you got, or an other Waterman, I don't remember. They're going to come to me slowly, I think. But another Waterman that you got was the Taperite.
Yes, that's correct.
And that one, I wanted
you to try
light. Very light pen. The whole pen is almost weightless. It's aluminum and plastic, and it has a very fine but slightly flexible nib. And what were your feelings on that? And you're not posting it because it doesn't do any
actually no. This one already found its way into my it already became one of my daily writers for work, for note taking, for especially for note taking.
Oh, good.
So
good. I was afraid you were going to say this.
I have to make sense of a lot of information in my work.
Yeah. I was afraid you were going to say this has ended up in my waste paper basket and I hate it, but I'm glad that's not what you said.
No. I mean, as with all the pens that I that come across my desk, I try to get to know it. And there are pens that I don't really know to appreciate from the very beginning because I don't understand them yet.
Yeah.
And what you can do with them, and but so far all of them found their way into my heart. And this one was actually with this one it was a very quick development, because it's got a very pleasant light feeling to it, and I see what you meant by when you said, you will see the difference between the 51 and the way it feels, the haptic feeling, the weight, and the the way it feels when you
post it and snap
when
it,
when
do
you
all that kind
post
of stuff.
it, and
and the Waterman is very flimsy, or it doesn't have that tactile weight to it that the 51 has, but it does have that flexible nib. which is really, really nice. A slightly flexible nib. So
just slightly flexible, and it's also, it has, for me, it gives me it doesn't draw too much attention to itself.
yeah,
but it's very pleasant to use, and again, it feels very precise. So if I want, for example, when I make sense of information, say I go through a research paper and I'm extracting information, this one is one of the pens that I would use to write down these notes, because I have the feeling that my handwriting is more precise, is more tidy when I use this one as compared to another one that might be more expressive, more flexible.
Those pens that are factoid driven, it does seem to want to register facts rather than emotions. When you want to be emotive, Brussels, you take out your wall and you say things with your heart, or you write the angry letter with that pen, whereas with the Waterman, you write the facts of the case. Your dog pooped on my yard 27 times in the last month, and then you get out your big fat pen and say, next time I see it, I'm going to kill it. Then you so my mind is now going a little bit crazy here, trying to remember the other pens, but let me see if I can do this, because I sent you, I think, 8.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's correct.
And how many have we talked about so far? 4?
We've covered 5 already.
5 already. So now I need to come up
including
with the
other
other 3. And this was, a million years ago. So this is not easy for me. Let me think. Is there a Schaefer? I feel like I'm I'm looking in my crystal ball. Was there a Schaefer pen? I think, there was a Schaefer pen, that brown striped pen. See, I remembered that. Okay.
Indeed.
And that's the standard size with a standard clip. That's the one that Effextinol would like best of all of these, I think, so far. Effextinol, you might say yes. And that one has a fine, slightly flexible feather touch nib, I think.
Yes, it does. It's a fine nib. It's not on the extra fine side of things.
Okay.
It's slightly flexible. And again, it has this, for me, daily writer potential. It's very pleasant to use. It has, I don't know, the Schaefer nibs, and I don't have too many Schaefer pens, I have to say. I think it's 3 in total, but they have 2 of them have a feather touch nib, and it has a very special feel, not just because it's just slightly flexible and a little bit soft, but also these Schaefer nibs feel very, very, still very sturdy and robust, and there is some. You have the feeling that the material is quite thick in comparison to.
Yeah.
Nibs.
I mean, there are some pens, some pen nibs that have. They might seem, and I'm going to be sexist here, they might feel feminine or fragile, but Schaefer nibs are always masculine, I think. Even if they're flexible, they feel like they're never delicate. They always feel a little stronger than that. Whereas Waterman nibs are almost always feel a little tiny bit delicate to me. Eversharp nibs are also pretty masculine, and and in a way, they can't quite do as much as a Waterman, but maybe, but you have to treat the Waterman with a little bit more. You're walking on eggshells a little bit, whereas with Schaefer's you can sort of plow right through without worry. Okay, let me see. Now, you might have to help me. Tell me the color of another pen.
Well, among all of those of the pens that you sent me, there is actually just one all black pen, and maybe
that would help.
And the second hint that
and what?
Yeah, and there and a second hint for that pen is you were of the opinion that it completed the orchestra, so to say.
Oh dear. Completed the orchestra. What the hell was that?
It's maybe the oddball in
the bunch.
In our selection. Yeah.
I do remember. Oh, it's the golf pen. Schaefer golf pen.
That's correct.
See, I am remembering. Okay, a little tiny golf pen. And that was the odd man out. We were, there were 6 or 7 pens that we were talking about, and you were unable to make a decision, and I helped you by saying, try this one. And what do you think of that one? Do you play golf?
Actually, it has, out of all of them, maybe I don't know. It's one of the most pleasant nibs that I've been recently writing with. It's very smooth. It's a very fine stub nib. So a lovely writer. And I mean, you can write with it.
Oh, unposted. Yeah,
it's almost you can write with it unposted.
Yeah, that's when you're trying to be secretive and people don't know you have a pen and you're just scratching your head and you're taking all of the notes. That's your spy pen, Brussels. When you go to the international conventions, you can take notes with that and no one will know. So that was the odd man out. Okay. So there's 2 more left. And I'm glad that you like that one, because that one is, I think it's the least comfortable to use because it's so small. And whenever I use,
it can be.
Yeah.
When I use it is common. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I like them as well, but almost all the ones that I have, I think all of the ones I have, because they're all the same size, but I always feel like the cap is going to fly off because it sort of hits. I don't feel I can push it down very far without breaking it or something. So I always feel that the cap is going to fall off and get run over by a truck or something, get run over by the golf caddy.
The only thing that I noticed about this one is that there are actually two small cracks in the cap lid here.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's not an issue because we have the cap bands and as you said, I mean you don't dare to kind of put too much pressure on the.
It's probably how it happened. Is I think people, when they're writing with that pen, back in 1932, and they're on the golf course and they're putting the cap on the back, I think, and they lift it up to their pad and they're writing, I think they probably press it down a little bit too hard because they're afraid it's going to fall off. But anyway, but that's I'm glad you like that one, and I'm glad that I remember now that the slightly stubby yet firm nib was kind of fun with that one, and the stub nibs I think always look good in stub ends. Fextonol, do you need one of those golf pens? Because I do have one or 2 or more for sale. 2 of them are going to Frederick. Frederick wants a lady's pen and a man's pen. Okay, 2 more left, huh?
One more to go, actually.
Only one more?
We're already at 7. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, yeah.
We have to give me a clue. Oh, this was the Eberhard Faber?
Nope.
No.
The Eberhard Faber is still with you, though.
Okay. No, well,
if you ever are.
Okay. I probably will be, and yes, we can talk about that. Is it an off-brand pen? Or
no, it's not an off-brand pen.
Okay.
It's actually the third of its brand, or not kind, but brand.
Okay.
And it's maybe the most. It's the one with maybe the most mesmerizing pattern and.
Mesmerizing pattern. Oh dear.
It's a lady.
It's a lady's one. Okay, so it's.
But it's.
Oh yeah. Okay, never mind. Okay, I got it. I remember now. It's the Lady Patricia. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Yes, in onyx. And in the Persian. Yeah.
In the Persian.
Yeah. And that one has a really sweet nib in it too, I think, if I remember correctly.
Indeed, it does. It's again a fine nib. It's actually more rigid than I expected it to be.
More rigid?
I mean, you can, if you apply.
Yeah.
It's more rigid than I thought it would be. Yeah.
Okay.
But and I found it works for me personally. It works best on hard paper. So if the paper is a little bit softer, then it's not the pen that the nib that I would use.
Okay.
Most likely, but on harder paper, it's really lovely.
Okay, so it takes a little bit of work to make it happen. You have to press down a little bit more. So, well, good. Well, I'm surprised my memory worked as well as it did for pens that I put in the mail so long ago. And I know that with us, we went back and forth a number of times with some of the pens. So what was in your pile came out and went back in again. So it was difficult. In general, it seems like you've made friends with all of them. There's none that seem to not speak to you. So that makes me very happy.
No, actually, me too. I think it's just evidence for time worth invested in taking the time and selecting them and talking the nibs and through.
Yeah.
And I mean, I already felt bad after a couple of talks for you that I thought I'm really picky and I'm all over the place in terms of my interest. But we identified really a good bunch of nibs.
I like your desire for a few things about the pens. First of all, you weren't all that overly concerned with having to have the pen be in perfect cosmetic shape. And the other thing is you like the idea of having diversity in the nibs. They all didn't have to be fine and flexible. They all didn't have to be broad. They all didn't have to be smooth. So it was easier for me to come up with 8 pens that did all seem different from one another. I'm going to do this, Brussels. I'm going to invite Affexnol to join us. Is that okay? Brussels?
Absolutely. Sure.
Okay.
One word of caution. I will likely have to leave in half an hour.
Okay, that's fine. I need to make a phone call, and I also have to find a power cord to plug this thing in so we don't go. So let me, I'll get you and Affectinol talking. And, one of the things that you talked about when we first spoke was your interest in having the pen, the toolness of the pen sort of disappear in your hand. And you wanted but the physicality of the pen was important to you, and the way the pen and the paper related to one another was important. And those are the things that Canada was talking about as well. So, and Affectinol is now here with his haircut, his shorn. He's
I
Samson,
wasn't lying.
having been shorn. Look at that.
I cut all my hair off.
That's what your ears look like in your forehead. Look at that. So
Yeah, I don't have to cover up my mess with a hat anymore.
Oh, that's good. Affectinol, this is Brussels Affectinol. And I think you've talked long ago, but
I remember Brussels being in chat on multiple occasions. Yes.
I don't think he was ever
Indeed.
live though. So this is the first time he was live.
No.
Yeah, this is a rare treat for sure.
Well, part of the problem had been, if I can say
really,
this,
really nice to meet you.
Likewise.
Brussels hurt his back and was unable to really sit and at a desk or something. So he's now getting
don't feel
better.
bad.
Yeah. So
my wrist is messed up, so I can't even do a lot of writing.
Oh no.
Mm.
So I'm going to let you two talk. I'm going to try to make a phone call and find a power cord.
Sure. There is a little bit of delay in my connection, it seems. So I hope you can hear me well.
No, it's working fine on my end.
Great.
So
yeah,
you oohed and awed over the Schaefer stripe pen.
Oh yeah, the brown stripe.
You must.
I don't know. I just love those
No.
the pens with the feather touch nibs.
Yeah, I mean the color scheme is just lovely on this one as well. So it's on the one hand the haptic feeling and the writing experience with this pen that I really like.
Hold on a second.
So the feather touch nibs, but it's also.
Flip that pen around and show me the feed again real quick, if you would.
Uh-oh. Is it the right feed?
Yeah, the feed is actually it
Yes,
is the right feed.
That's a rare
white.
feed.
Well, it's I don't know who painted it white or how.
No. Schaefer painted that feed white.
Oh, did they? Okay. Well,
that's a factory thing, and they're kind of rare. Yeah.
Why did they do that?
No one really knows.
Okay. Well, you got a rare pen, Brussels. I didn't know that.
I just saw a flash of that, and I was like, "Oh, that's got a white feed in it. That's cool."
I never knew that. Well,
yeah, there's a few of those pins. Some of the military clip pins, some of the feather touch pins, had white feeds on them for some reason.
Okay.
Ah.
Here, I thought someone just dipped it in the white ink for.
Because to me, it sounded like it was kind of an accident, or.
I thought it was, yeah, but Affectinol knows.
It could have been something they were testing, to make the feed work a little differently or change the ink flow or something. I don't know, but there's a lot of different theories as to why they did that, but they quit doing it very quickly afterwards. So that's pretty cool there that you seem to enjoy and appreciate every one of those pins that Pierre sent you.
I really do, I have to say, and I mean my pen collection is not big. I mean, maybe for a collector it's really certainly small, and I'm more a user than a collector. For someone who just tends to write, take notes, or write with fountain pens, it has been growing quite substantially over the last 3 years. So it's maybe 50 to 60 pens, but they all kind of complete each other. My desire was to find pens that I like writing with, that are diverse in their nib shape and types, and I found that the selection that Pierre and I came up with actually really nicely complements this collection. So
well, that's what's fun about getting pins from Pierre is that, you know, he tries to tailor the pins he sends you to your specific, you know, needs, requirements, desires, etc. And sometimes he'll just send you stuff, you know, because he thinks you'll like it. So, and that's always fun too, because, you know, you might know that you like XYZ type pins, but, you know, Pierre's been playing with fountain pens for so long that he kind of knows, you know, he definitely has a bottomless well of fountain pen knowledge. And it's practical knowledge too, in terms of actually using the pens. There's a lot of people that are pin collectors and have knowledge about the pen's physical features or, you know, rare little, you know, variations on the pens that they made over the years and stuff, but very little of the information applies to actually using the pens. Some collectors don't even ink their pens.
I know, and for me that would be, I mean, I think that's something that I couldn't just look at the pen. I mean, maybe there are some pens that you would just be glad to I don't know, own and appreciate by looking at
pens in my collection that are
knowing
brand
that it's so,
new.
but
yeah, brand new and never inked pens, but
that you would never write with.
But anyway, I don't want to.
Just in terms of wanting to preserve them, you know what I mean? There's quite a few pens in my collection that I bought as new old stock and had never been inked, and I inked them myself. So,
I mean, I also got one of the other pen that let's say that I use with more caution, just because I don't want to damage them. I think they already lasted for so long, and I don't want to be the reason for them to disappear from this world. But then again, if I like them, then I just use them. But I maybe store them differently, like this one. It's one that also rather recently joined my pen family, if you will, and it's a Waterman 402 from 1914. Eyedropper, and it's got a really, really, really lovely nib, and the nib is so lovely. It needs to be written with. It's really, really fine. Very juicy. Yeah, just lovely. And it was just coincidence that I came across it and that I had the opportunity.
Yeah, when you pulled that out, I was like, is that one of those Aurora Hastile or whatever they called them? But no, it's just really, really skinny.
It's really skinny. It's really thin, and I'm storing it in my pen drawer. But when I bring it along, I don't have actually a case that this one would fit into, because it's just so slender, so thin that it's and yeah.
Well, the good thing is, that being an eyedropper pen, there's not a whole lot you can do to it to really hurt it, even by using it, as long as you're careful with it, of course. I mean, it's made out of hard rubber and a gold nib, so with gentle use, there's no reason it couldn't last another 100 years.
Hopefully so. And what I love about these pens, and I think I share this love with Pierre, is it's a smooth sterling pen, and I actually prefer the smooth sterling over any kind of patterns. It's just the feel that it has.
Yeah, I'd never seen a Waterman with a sterling overlay like that. That was just smooth, polished. I thought all of them had intricate filigrees or designs on them chasing.
I came across it once, then it disappeared. At the time I didn't have it was not within my pen budget basically to buy one of those, and then all of a sudden another one appeared a while ago, and I had already set aside some money to buy such a pen if should it cross
Right.
my way. So there are some pens that I have on my list that should they ever cross my way, then I try to get hold of them. And among them was this one, or I mean another one that I really fancy is actually I think it's also Pierre's favorite, or one of his favorite Sterling pens, the Waterman 494. This big heavy pen from, I don't know when it was manufactured, but also very rare bird. And I don't, and it's not because they are rare that I like them so much, but it's just this combination of aesthetics and I think also the feel of these instruments in your hands.
Although you seem to go for pens that are different than what I would typically go for, I sense that we have similar collecting strategies. Like my collection is probably closer to 200 pens at this point. So I don't have the largest pen collection in the universe by far, but I have a decent number of pens. But I'm like you in the sense that the rarity of a pen doesn't do anything for me. By and large, I buy pens, I buy the nib on a pen with the pen attached, essentially. That's the main driving force for me. If a pen has a nib that I'm interested in, and it happens to be a pen that I think looks nice, that's usually what seals the deal for me. But I'm also just like a regular, user of fountain pens, like you said yourself. I'm not interested in just having them, collecting them, and looking at them. If I can't write with them, then it's no fun.
Indeed. I mean, I really use them, and I think that was kind of my that was the start of it. I really I always loved to write, and I was looking for pleasant pens to do so. And
I see you have a Pelikan 140 there.
Fountain pens. Indeed. And I think that was that was my first vintage fountain pen, and it's in Europe and especially in the German-speaking regions. This is still a very common find. So many people would have, the grandparents at home would maybe still have such a pen, and they also, in terms of the feel of the material, they're really lovely. And they actually have, many of them have really nice flexible nibs, and this one came with an oblique medium nib. And
I find it interesting.
Some feedback, but I like it.
You might be a good person to ask this question to. I see a lot of vintage Pelikans, Montblanc, Sonokin, pens like that. They will have a lot of like oblique broads, oblique mediums, even oblique double broad nibs on them, and they seem to be quite common. And I was just curious, did people use oblique nibs considerably more in Europe? Because over here on vintage pens, we have oblique nibs, but they don't seem to be anywhere near as common.
It's a good question, actually. I don't know if they're more common here in Europe. I know that you will find a lot of Montblanc nibs and Pelikan nibs with oblique nibs on the market still. Maybe they were, I don't know, maybe for signatures or so, more in fashion during a certain period. I mean, for those Pelikan pens, I mean, they have a huge range of different nib grinds that they had available.
Yeah, I only have one vintage Pelikan, but the Pelikan I have is a vintage 400, and it's just got a regular fine, somewhat flexible nib on it. It's an awesome pen.
I also have one of those.
That's pretty much the same thing I have.
This one is a 400N, And what's interesting about this pen is it's kind of it's a hybrid. It's a transition pen, if you will, from one generation to the next. I don't know if you know the story, that basically you had the 400 and then you have the 400 NN, where N stands for new. And
Right.
this one is kind of this one has not only been produced for a year or so, and I think it was 1956, but I might be wrong. And you can spot them. You can identify them by taking a look at the rear end. It's more rounded
Yeah, mine's got a
than
flatter
its successor.
blind cap on it. And the nib that is on mine has Pelican written in like a script on it, instead of the little chevron V that are on some of them.
I don't know if you can read it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty similar. But mine's just a 400. It's not an N or an NN. The person that
it's
sold
one
it
of
to
the
me
earlier
was
ones. I had one of those as
expert.
well.
I apologize if I keep talking over top of you. I feel like the delay is.
No worries.
causing
Yeah, the
me to
delay
do so.
is maybe it's a little bit tricky, but no worries.
I'm back.
Hello.
Oh, Nick G. Who's
Brussels has been over here showing off his vintage Pelicans.
Oh, Brussels. Oh, when you said I didn't hear the B, I thought Russell was
No,
somehow.
not Russell.
Okay.
Brussels.
Who's Nick G? Walt Eversharp Skylines have good flex nib. Summit. Nick G. There are many pens that have flexible nibs. Wall, Waterman, Conklin. Really, almost every vintage manufacturer made them, because that was the fashion, the handwriting of the day. And so I don't know if Nick G is still here. So I don't know who else. And Miss Marilyn and is here. Says Mitch got a haircut. Mitch.
Yeah, I was
hi, Nick.
realizing that I was ignoring chat there for a minute. I didn't
Okay.
notice anyone had come in.
So Nick, have you ever been on this chat before? I don't remember seeing that name.
I can never get this camera lined up. Here we go. Well, I have a few new pins to show off.
Okay. Oh, and Schiavello's here.
No way. Mitch shows up and Parker is
and Tasha's here.
Magically appears out of thin air.
Oh, he gets the Effextinol newsletter or something.
Yeah, he must. He must get a notification right to his cell phone that I've appeared on the internet again.
Well, Nick, it's nice to see you, and comment next time. Where are you from, Nick? We've got Brussels and Michigan and not Michigan, right? Ohio. Where are you from? Effextinol. Sorry.
You kept saying Brussels, and I'm like, I don't think he's from America, but okay. I'm pretty sure he's from Europe.
No, Brussels is.
No, I'm from the Dayton, Ohio area.
Ohio, okay.
Yeah.
And it's Melissa that's from Michigan.
But anyway, this is the first newish pen that I have.
Oh.
It looks like a Craftsman.
Yeah. And
it has a white dot.
So it has a Triumph nib.
Yes, it does. It's got a little stealth bomber nib.
I love that pen. I love those pens.
Yeah. Well, I found one for really super cheap. So I paid $26 for this pen.
Well, damn you. Okay, good for you. I'm very happy for you. And Nick is from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Oh, Vegas. Here's another one.
Okay, that's the one you got from me, right?
No.
No. Oh,
This is
dear.
a different one. This was a late night 3 a.m. eBay snag for $40.
Okay, and that's a white dot as well?
It's a white dot, brown stripe,
Yeah,
1,000 price code, if that tells you anything.
yeah. Okay, so that's similar to the one you got from me with a golf ball of a nib.
It's like a somewhat stubby broad.
Yeah, no,
It's killer.
It seems like it would be very wet and
It's
moppy.
not quite moppy wet, but it's definitely wet enough. But it's
Yeah.
a super cool. Once I saw the nib on it and the pictures were terrible, I was like, that nib has to be something like a stub or a broad or something.
Nick,
And
it's
those
a
are hard to find on Triumphs. So
Nick, it's a Schaefer tuckaway, is what you're thinking, not Waterman tuckaway. Do you have a tuckaway, Effectinol?
I have 0 tuckaways.
Okay, well, we have to get you a.
It's not that I wouldn't want
the-
one. I just never found one for a reasonable price.
The nib, well, I've got one I can sell you reasonably, I think. The nib that's bent up slightly on a Schaefer, that's called a Waverly nib.
Yeah, with the little
Upstroke.
swoop in
E-jump.
the very tip of the nib.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I love Triumph nibs, actually.
Yeah.
Here's a pin I got from someone else that we might know.
Okay.
I've been looking for a Sterling Parker 75 for a long time, and everybody wanted like $150 or $200 for one.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't want to pay that much for them. I like them, but I don't think they're worth that much. It's just
Okay.
a Parker 75.
Yeah.
This was Canada's pin.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm trading him a few things for this.
Oh, good. And that's has the cross hatching on it.
Yeah, it's the cross-hatched
Okay. Good.
Sterling pattern here.
Yeah.
This
Good.
is like a later one. I think this was from like the 70s or something.
Yeah.
But I don't really care about that. I just wanted a cool Sterling pin.
Does it have a smooth tassie at the top and bottom, or is it?
No, it's
the dimpled kind. Okay, so that's
it's not a dimple. It's just a flat one.
It's not completely smooth though.
Yeah, it's flat with like a dish or whatever. It's not a dimple.
Yeah, a dimple.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah, that's.
There's like a flat one. The
flat one is the early one.
Yeah, there's the dished one, and then there's the dimple one, right?
Oh, I don't know about.
Yeah, I think that's the 3 kinds they have.
Okay. We're ignoring you, Brussels. We don't mean to. I'm watching you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm doing show and tell at the moment.
That's okay. You can show and tell.
Here's another weird pin. This is one of Canada's pins.
That is weird.
And I don't get to keep it, but he sent it to me to play with.
It looks like it should have your lipstick in it.
Well, this pin is a Delta.
Okay.
Which is an Italian brand.
Okay.
And it's really weird and like modern looking and stuff. The reason he sent me this pin is because it was ground by a Nibmeister.
Oh, okay.
And it's a needle point grind. And I had never tried a nib that it was, an actual custom grind by an expert.
I see.
And it is absolutely a needle point. This thing is a weapon.
Okay. Well,
what else do I have in my
hot little hands?
Oh yeah, you like this little pin bag thing I have?
Your little purse, your little pen purse. Do you have shoes?
Yeah, my little pin purse.
Do you have shoes and a belt to match there? Okay, that's a PFM. No, I can't. That's the big fat Triumph.
Nope.
What is it? It's a big fat Triumph. Oh, big fat snorkel.
Just a snorkel.
Just a snorkel. It looks fatter, but maybe
this is it's probably this camera because it's like a wide angle lens.
Okay.
This is the snorkel you sold me, Pierre.
Okay.
Yeah, I inked it up.
Okay.
And I took the stupid thing off it.
Oh, good. Well.
Yeah.
You make sure to tell everyone you took the stupid price tag off.
Stupid
price tag.
Hey, for some pins, I leave them on if I don't actually plan on using them. But
well, I'm glad you took that off.
And no, it had legitimately never been inked before, and I just inked it up the other day. So.
And how's it working?
The nib on this thing is probably one of the best regular medium nibs I have on a
good.
snorkel.
Good.
It is super good. I'm having some problems with it skips a little tiny bit at the beginning of letters, but I don't know if it's the ink I'm using or what. So,
Okay.
well, it's never been used before too, so it could have, it could be a little dirty. Who knows?
Well, if it came from me, it's going to be dirty, even if it was never inked.
Well,
It's dirty.
cosmetically, it's clean now because I even polished it and everything.
Okay. I think any pen that comes through my hands automatically gets dirty, whether I actually. Oh dear, what's that?
Here's another pen that is Canada's pen. It's not mine. I'm just playing with it and borrowing it.
Visconti.
Yeah, this is a Visconti Van Gogh Mini.
Okay.
It's not a very big pen. It's kind of tiny. It's got a little steel nib, but this is another pen that he sent me because it has a custom grind on it.
Okay.
And this one's like it's like a Japanese extra fine grind.
Okay.
0.25 millimeter, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And see, Canada's doing his utmost to get me into finer nib grinds.
Yeah.
Because that's his thing. Like the finer, the better to him.
I know that's his shtick, but
right.
I know that you used to love, you and Marilyn love smooth. Pens that are smooth and
well, I still do to an extent, but I can appreciate nibs that have feedback and aren't the smoothest in the universe too, as long as they're offering you something else in return.
Okay.
But yeah, this pen, I actually enjoy this pen more than the needlepoint one. The needlepoint is just a little too extreme for me.
I see.
Because the needlepoint is genuinely sharp, but it lays down a crazy fine line.
I'm hoping that the Boston Pen Show will in fact happen in the fall, and that maybe you can come out and visit it, Affectional. And it would be great to sit side by side across the table and try some of these pens that you love because of the nibs, and maybe I could understand more what you like. Lovely paraff there, Brussels, on the bottom of your whatever you wrote. Something
wet noodle.
I don't know if you can read it. Something wet noodle. It was written with a swan eyedropper, with a really soft, hard to control nib.
Okay. So, oh wow. Oh dear. That looks beautiful. Those tines go on for days. So I think I might have told Affectional this, but that little swirl at the bottom of your wet noodle signature there, that thing, well, the whole thing, the big propeller, all of that.
Yeah.
That whole thing is called a paraff. And a paraff was used to thwart forgers. It was very easy to forge a name, but to forge a paraff was hard. So people did that to keep forgers from forging them. So, and
that's why they would have a lot of the loops and flourishes go back through their letters. Was like an anti-forgery thing, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Well, Nick, you can go to a pen show soon. How old are you, Nick, if I can ask that question on this channel? First time to a pen show. I'm just.
That's right, because this channel is 18 and up only.
No, sometimes it's 18 and up. But
oh, that's true. It varies, but
if Skivello isn't actually online and we don't have the opportunity to say things that will scare him or offend him, it's not as much fun.
And Nick says too old.
Talking in the gutter. So he's 48. Okay, well, that's a nice young age.
Getting back to the theme of pins that came from Pier, these are the three pins I have left to choose from.
Oh,
that I haven't purchased yet.
Okay. Well,
and I'm having difficulty deciding. One is a senior size balance,
yeah.
and it's got a really pretty awesome nib.
Yeah, the
It's an
nib
early
really
nib
nice on it.
too.
Yeah. And it's fine with only a little, kind of a little hint of flex to it.
Yeah. There is the big Triumph.
Yeah.
Which I have to buy this pen. Out of the three, that I got to get this one at least.
Okay, good.
And then there's another one of these
Okay.
brown stripe Triumphs.
Okay. Now, did you buy one of those from me, or is that the one that you were thinking of? Because now you're.
Oh, that was the one I'm thinking of buying still.
So you didn't buy one originally from me?
No. Okay. Originally, I bought. That's what this paper's for.
Yeah. No.
I got the Mont Blanc from you.
Okay.
I bought the that brown stripe set. That weird set. We don't know what it is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The brown, not a set. It's a brown pen. It's not a striped one.
Yeah. It's dark brown. Yeah, it's not a stripe. You're right. I got the stickered snorkel, the black one I just showed.
No longer stickered.
Yeah, and I got a couple of those cartridge fill Schaefers that have the little bitty pseudo Triumph nibs on them.
I can sell you one, Nick. So, yeah. Well, I remember that one of the pens I had was that Triumph nib stripe Schaefer.
Yeah.
And I had two of them, and it took me a long time to decide which one I was going to keep. And I kept the one I kept, and the one that I was willing to sell is the one that you have now. But because you already have that, you already bought that pen elsewhere. You don't feel obligated to have to get that one.
Well, the thing is, though, is the one I bought is like a big chunky stub broad, and this one is like a normal, like a fine.
Okay. Well, then you need them both.
Yeah, I kind of need them both,
Well, and they're relatively rare, so might as well have them both.
Nick is asking, oh yeah, he wants to buy a Triumph. Where can I see it? Oh, well, I have.
He has two of those now.
I have Triumphs for days. Of all the Triumph nibs you could shake a stick at.
I have a number of Triumph nibs as well. So we can, send me an email, Nick, and I'll see what I have for you.
Yeah, if you're looking for stuff, if anyone can sort you out, as they say, it would probably be Pure.
Well, I take pride in being able to try to figure out what people want based on the nib backwards.
That's what me and Brussels were talking about, is your expertise and custom tailoring fountain pens for their, new owners.
Yeah, I don't just sell someone a snorkel. I have to sell them the snorkel that they want, and they don't know what they want, so I have to figure it out. It takes hours and days and hours.
I just seen Friedrich, of all people.
Friedrich is here.
Howdy, howdy, he says. Oh, Nick, you can get Pierre's email from his website. Yeah, you don't have to go on Facebook or anything.
Yeah, or just go to Pierre Gustafson. I'm the only one on the planet. Search for Pierre Gustafson, you'll find me. It's not hard.
That's true. You might be the only person named Pierre Gustafson.
I think I am.
Yeah.
Well, there might be some, old Norwegian with my name, but I don't know if the website is on the link or not, but pierregustafson.com. It's, again, it's very uncreative. Pierre Gustafson.
Here's something else that you haven't seen.
.com. Conklin.
No.
Oh.
It's a Schaefer.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't see it now. Yep.
Yep. It's got a white dot. I believe this would have been a 1,000 price code pen,
Yeah.
but this is a Schaefer Statesman.
Oh,
It's one of the many variants of Statesman they made. It's a two-tone lifetime nib.
okay.
Green stripe celluloid. These are made probably 1938 to 41, right before World War II.
Hi, Sacco.
And this one's a vacuum filler, actually.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it's pretty awesome, I will admit. But I got this pen from that guy that I like that restores pens super well on Instagram.
I love your handwriting, Brussels. It's very I want to say it reminds me of some Renaissance script I see from time to time. Very.
Yeah, Brussels handwriting does have an old world charm to it for sure.
Oh, here's Miss Marilyn.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Miss Marilyn, let me add you. Add to stream. We're all going to be wider. Oh, look at Miss Marilyn. You're wearing your wedding frock.
I'm breaking out the guns. Watch out.
Okay.
Or the flaps, as it were.
Yeah. Okay. Brussels. This is Ms. Marilyn Darling, and Brussels has
Pleasure to meet you.
Has been a typist on our stream before long ago, and but hadn't been using his vocal cords here until today. So he was showing me the pens that he bought from me. This is in our divorce papers. I get to see them once a month. Right?
Visitation rights.
I have visitation right. Once a month I get to see them and say hi to them. So, but it took
we're talking about these
2 months to get to Brussels, not to get there, but to get out of customs into his hot little hands. So
wow.
It took a good long time.
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
It was nerve-wracking.
And,
Nick was just asking me about Triumph nibs here. From the Schaefer you just showed, I'm assuming he's speaking to me, which is the longest Waverly nib. Well, that's kind of a difficult one to say because they came in a bunch of different variations, and I'll show you in just a second here. This one is one of the shortest. I think this one's called an Admiral 2. I'm not 100% sure on the model name of this pen. But this pen has a little tiny short Triumph nib. It's really, really short and stubby. But you can tell these pens because they have a little, it says like Schaefer's lifetime, and it has 79 written on it. There's also I think there's a 59 nib also that's even smaller than this, but they're hard to find. But this pin's a really short, stubby Triumph nib. Then you have ones like this. This is like a standard normal length one. Now, if you compare the two, you'll immediately see the difference.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this one is significantly longer than the other one.
Yeah, with Schaefer pens, because they are almost always firm, and with Triumph nibs especially, that are almost always firm, I would think that the length might only be of value to someone that writes maybe with a hook, a lefty, where they're holding the pen a little bit more horizontal to the paper or something. Would there be a reason, do you think, why you would need them to be longer? Afextinol?
I'm as far as making like their outright length, I'm not sure unless it's like a comfort type thing.
Well, that's what I was thinking, if
here is a standard Triumph nib next to a Snorkel Triumph nib, and you'll see they're just about the same length, but the Snorkel Triumph nib is actually smaller in diameter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the older Triumphs are slightly larger in diameter.
Yeah. Sako, I don't get really any European pens. I don't have that option usually. And Frederick, it reminds us that we can get a Waverly tip on a non-Triumph nib. Schaefer was pretty famous for that upswing.
Yeah, the Waverly thing isn't exclusive to Schaefer, but a lot of Schaefers have it.
Pierre, did I give you the green pen?
No, you sent me 2 clear pens.
Oh, here's the green pen. Okay.
Since Friedrich is
I
here,
have.
what model is this pen, Friedrich?
Yeah, Friedrich would know.
Looks like a Craftsman, white dot, 79 Triumph nib. What is this? I don't know.
Oh, actually, the Affectional, the one that I think looks more like a stealth bomber is the one that doesn't have the metal threads. It's all plastic barrel.
Yeah.
And that one looks very stealthy.
Well, I've been calling this one the stealth bomber just because that was the name you coined. But yeah, it's not even really perfectly applicable.
No, it's not as stealthy as the other.
Not quite.
Pierre?
Yeah? I'm
sorry to interrupt you guys, but I will have to leave shortly for today, but I'm happy to join you again soon. But actually, I have a final question for tonight.
Okay.
When you sent me this lovely all metal wall, it comes with a number 3 nib.
Yeah.
And I was actually quite surprised by how big this nib is in comparison to another wall pen with a number 3 nib that I have.
That's a number 3 as well.
That it says number 3 as well, and it's just way smaller than the other one, and I don't understand the rationale behind it.
I don't know what the logic
numbering
is necessarily either. It could be there might be a possibility that the 3 in the hard rubber pen is just smushed in further, so it's just crammed into the section more. But I think their numbering system wasn't always as
consistent,
cast in stone, and as you might think. But Frederick says that pen is an Admiral.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was, like an Admiral 2 or something like that.
Well, I know, Sako, I give you gems. It's good. The 59 size Triumph nibs that can be found on the Lady Schaefer or the Imperial 3.
Imperial 2 and 3. Yeah, he's talking about the little
itty bitty ones.
Yeah. Like this, actually.
Like the one I sold you, I think, or sent you. I don't know if you. Yeah, that little itty bitty one.
Like that.
So I don't know the exact answer, Brussels, with respect to those nibs. And again, it could be that it seems like, and I can't remember because it was 2 months ago when I was putting these pens together for you, and I know I had to change the nib. It seems to me that nib fits that pen, but I may not have shoved it in as much as I could have. But again, it seems to be fine. So
it looks like the actual width of the shoulders on the nib are larger too. I think the nib is physically larger.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's very sexy that way, though.
It's basically it's really.
Yeah, I mean, it looks huge by comparison. It looks like a size bigger, but
I don't know. I like
huge. Yeah.
Tiny pens with huge nibs on them. So.
Yeah.
No, it's really a treat. It's a pen that is really also very versatile. I mean, you can use it for calligraphy, but you can use it for notes because you can control the nib very well. But you can likewise use it for drawing because it will go anyways. And I'm not overly worried that I kind of damage it. So it's a really lovely pen.
Great.
Here's one of my favorite 51s.
Okay.
Just a regular black 51, and I
Okay.
rebuilt this thing out of parts and pieces.
Okay.
This pen had a problem that I see in a lot of earlier Aerometric 51s, where inside the underneath the sack protector here, the PVC of the sack was actually melting the connector piece in there, and it was shrinking it down, and it had a crack in it.
Oh dear.
So I replaced the this connector piece in here and saved all the rest of the pieces from the pen. But the reason why this 51 is one of my favorites is it's got this like a medium 51 nib on it, of course, with a good chunk of tipping, and it's still got the old sterling silver breather tube in here as well.
Okay. Brussels.
Oh yeah, still here.
Yeah. Frederick is saying, is that a Wahl Signature 3, a Wahl Pen 3, or just a Wahl 3? So what do both of those number 3 Wahl pens say? That's a good
question.
This guy is the expert on this kind of stuff, and
yeah, if anyone would know,
I think if I recall it correctly, both of them just say both of them just say Wahl 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what
I don't know if you can see that, but
yeah,
it just says Wahl 3.
Now, when it says Wahl Pen, Frederick, does that mean it's a shittier version? I know that the the Wahl 10-point pens are really, the nibs are really crappy for some reason. I don't know why. And then the Wahl Signature ones are the ones that fit in the screw Esterbrook-like housings, which are not interesting to me, but anyway.
That's not true.
It's not interesting to me.
No. Here's a little Wahl ring top.
Okay.
It's got a little tiny Wahl nib on it, and believe it or not, this says Wahl Signature 14K.
Okay, and it doesn't have a screw.
And it's not a screw; it's just a normal nib feed.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know why, but
it might have been from a pen that was in a screw thing. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
but someone told me this was like an Equipoise ring top or something. Yeah.
Well, what the Wahl Eversharp did in their factories is not for public consumption, because they weren't really paying attention to what they were doing. I don't think they made great pens, but when it came down to where they put the gold band, where they put the roller clip, they seemed very all over the map with that. So Frederick, were the signature pens, they were part of that series where you could buy the point and screw it in, I think.
I remember you showing me that advertisement for that though, Pierre. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, my assumption is that it does belong in that kind of housing, but they could have also just put them in a regular pen or used it as a replacement if the Equipoise got broken or something.
Right.
But
Seiko says, Sako, I don't know how to pronounce that. Speaking of sacks, would you recommend silicone over latex? I'm looking for a good black I can use with heavy flex without feathering.
I want some hot latex sacks.
Oh, Pierre.
Put us right
wandering off topic already.
I think that the newer sacks are made out of silicone. I mean, this one's made out of silicone.
There's traditional latex sacks. There's PVC sacks, like what is in a Parker 51 that lasts forever. And then there's silicone sacks. Silicone pen sacks are awesome because they're basically impervious to anything you can put in a pen.
But they're also very soft.
They're very soft, and they're also permeable to air. Not very much, but air can pass through a silicone sack. So if you have a silicone sack in a pen, you've got to basically store it with the nib up. Because if you store it like this, there's a good chance you'll find a bunch of ink in your cap.
Yeah,
PVC sacks, like what are
Didn't know
in
that.
like a Parker 51, are
Are you sure
excellent.
that it's because it's permeable to air, or the air temperature presses on the sack to push
It's
the?
actually permeable to air, just like a
Well,
a balloon can be.
Frederick is joining me in the gutter. Latex and
This
heavy
doesn't
fitting
surprise me.
silicone is a good lubricant.
I'm trying to give Seiko like legitimate answer to his question, everybody.
Yeah, I know, and we won't
And you
allow
guys
that.
keep I'm riding on my bicycle and you're just sticking twigs in my spokes as I'm riding here.
Well, that's what makes this channel fun. Oh, Joshua Norris is here. Silicon sack is junk. Well,
All right
so
then.
But yeah, silicone, they're very permeable to air, and there's a lot of usage problems that go along with it. Yes, you can put any ink you want in there, but you'll want to store your pen completely upright, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. PVC is great because it lasts forever, but it does stain really easy. So if you use any kind of, heavily pigmented ink or something, it's going to stain your sack, whatever color that is, like really fast.
Is anything wrong with the sacks I use other than ones that don't work? I mean, what's wrong
Well,
with the rubber
latex sacks have the problem of, they have a finite lifespan. They don't last forever.
Nothing lasts forever.
If you treat them nice, you don't leave ink in them. You rinse your pen out real good. A latex sack can last you 20 years pretty easily.
Are you listening to this, Pierre?
Oh, bite me. I have to clean myself.
You have to practice good pen hygiene, Pierre.
Oh,
It's
God.
important. You want them to last forever, don't you?
I don't do that very well.
Guys, unfortunately, I'll have to leave you now.
Okay, well, goodbye.
Oh, it was nice meeting you, Brussels.
But hopefully see you soon again. It's been a pleasure.
So.
See you later.
I'll try to get Canada on
and let's
here.
talk soon.
Okay, bye.
Yeah,
bye,
lovely. Really enjoyed it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, that's a good point too. What Friedrich just said is that PVC will destroy celluloid pens. And that is true. You can't mix and match sack types in a lot of pens, depending on the materials the pen is made out of.
I never thought about that.
Generally speaking, if a pen had a latex sack in it, you're probably better off just putting another latex sack in it.
Now, what are the sacks that I buy from the pen set company? What are they made of?
Just latex, regular latex rubber.
Okay. Latex rubber. Okay.
Because the other kinds of pen sacks are usually transparent or clear.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
I think it has to do a lot too with the thickness of the sack. Like some of these people, the green one that I had, that sack is practically made out of air as it is. There's just nothing to it.
Yeah.
But I've seen these sacks that are like as thick as like regular plastic.
Yeah.
They're just really beefy looking, and I'm like, what are you gonna do with that? You get like this much ink in it.
Yes.
And then that's it, because it's all sack. I see these people restoring them. I'm like, what are people going to write with? It takes like 2 lines and you're done.
Well, if you see on the internet, a lot of people were recommending that people use thin-walled latex sacks and snorkel pens.
And then they don't suck
I
up
don't
any
think
ink.
that's right. Because a snorkel pen relies on, the wall of the sack being thick enough to expand again to draw in a full fill of ink.
Right, exactly.
Now their thinking was, having a thin-walled sack would make it easier for the little pneumatic touchdown system to compress the sack. That's fine if it wasn't the fact that the sack has to then expand again with the force of ink that it's drawing up. So
that's the problem.
Is that standard thick-walled sacks are perfectly fine in snorkels, and that's probably what you should use.
I think that's the problem that Pierre and I had with that gold thing.
Well, I sent Marilyn a pen that had that was it's like a wall pen, like the one that Brussels had.
Yeah.
Marilyn had
Did you
a
see?
hard time getting it to fill, and it turned out it was because the
The sack stuck to itself.
the sack just turned into gum, like
when they start breaking down, because basically when sacks break down, it can do so in a couple different ways. It can either unvulcanize itself, basically turn back into goo, or it can go the other direction, which turns into fossilized petrified stone, basically.
Right.
Yeah, just to get back to this point I wanted to make about this 51.
Yeah.
The nib on this pen is not worn out, but if you look at it under a loop, it's got a decent amount of wear on it. But in my opinion, there is no smoother nib out there for a fountain pen than a pen that has been written with for decades and decades in nice, careful usage. This Parker 51 nib is super wet, and it just, every time I write with it, I'm just like, wow, because it is so good.
You're lucky that you hold the pen in exactly the same way that whoever had
right
did. Sako has asking about a black ink that won't feather, and Paindu Munda, I don't know who that is, evidently knows who you are though, Mitch. Long time no see, he says.
I may have seen them in chat before, but that name's not ringing a bell for me. But hello, nonetheless.
I don't recognize the name either, but
I think Pingdo Muda subscribed to me. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Okay.
Sako said I pronounced the name correct. That makes me feel good. I'm assuming it's a Scandinavian name, like Finnish or something. Norwegian, I don't know.
I think Sako is. I wanted to say Turkish. I forget what it was. Sako. Or Albania. Turkish. What is it?
When it comes to inks that don't feather, though, that's kind of a tricky one because that has a lot to do with the pen you're using, as well as the ink that you're using in the paper. It's a combination.
It's a very fine balancing act. All of the inks that I've reviewed, the best for non-feathering has been Noodler's X Feather. The problem with Noodler's X Feathers is it never fucking dries. Pardon my French. But Jesus Christ, I have gone back to some of the first papers that are in our drawer over here, and they're still wet after like a year's having them.
That's because that ink is so concentrated. There's so much dye in that ink. There's some sort of particulate material in Noodler's ink that are bulletproof.
But just affects and all.
Another good one is sorry, you made me blank out for a second. Hold on, let me see.
Well, Frederick is making a good point, Sako.
Holy crap, Marilyn.
I have a few. I review inks, so if you're interested in ink, either me or Adam, where are the people to go to?
Well, I'm boring. I use blue and black ink, basically.
Well, that's
all I care about.
I blanked out on the name of the company. Let me see if I can find it on my Google document.
Friedrich brings up a good point, though, that a lot of these inks that they sell now that are super concentrated, you can dilute them with distilled water by 10, 20, 30, even sometimes 50%, and still have a perfectly usable, well-behaved ink in the end. So these inks that they're making now, crazy super sheen, and they're really super concentrated. If you think of them as like an ink concentrate,
oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of what they are.
I have an ink that I've diluted like this many times out of the same ink.
Yeah. Mighty Mouse brought up a good point too. Platinum Carbon Black. Platinum Carbon Black is a really awesome waterproof ink that doesn't seem to feather that much.
Yeah.
It's pretty well behaved.
I forget who told me to tell you something.
Where's Will?
Will is
Hi, Will. How are you? I was the one that told you to tell him that I got his package. It's right here. It's all ready to go. I just have to put his name on it and take it to the post office.
Okay.
Because he asked me what kind of paper that I was using, and I was using Lamy ruled notebook paper. It's really great stuff for learning Spencerian, like that real
water drop ink. It seems like we should just have a big boxing ring, and we can have the ink people just duke it out, figure out what's right.
Rock'em sock'em robots.
And then you have the SAC people duke it out, the latex versus the silicone, and we'll.
Yeah, I've heard people say that before too, like, oh, you never put Noodler's ink in a latex sack. And to me, I think it's more of how long you leave an ink in a pen that hurts the sack versus the specific type of ink. All my pens with latex sacks, I don't leave them inked for more than maybe a week or two max.
Right.
I've had really, really good luck with traditional latex sacks in my pens. It's like a tongue twister.
Yeah.
But yeah, Japanese inks, you want to avoid those just because the pH on them is so bad. Because high pHs will, high pH is bad for latex rubber.
Detrimentus, that's the name of the ink.
Like I put iron gall ink in latex sacks and don't have any problems. Maybe that's just me, but
Detrimentus Archive Black. Now that black I went through so fast. Oh, that was really good ink. And you can like write with it, and then like 2 seconds later it's dry and it doesn't smudge or move, and you can put water on top of it and it stays put. So
I hear a lot of people say a lot of stuff about Noodler's ink in particular, and I think it's a lot of it's kind of I don't know. It's kind of like hearsay at this point. Like, oh, Noodler's will melt your pen. I don't doubt that Noodler's has probably damaged some pens, but at the same time, I don't doubt that a lot of inks being made now could potentially damage a pen for some reason or another. So
the only ink I've ever had a problem with is King Philip Requiem, and it's here somewhere. And it stained my entire pen like red, and I had to use bleach for days on it.
I don't know. I have really good luck, but I also use really tame inks. I use like Parker, Waterman, Pelican.
Right.
And generally blues and blacks. So, and I don't have any problems at all. I don't even think about it anymore.
I mean, it's a beautiful color of ink, but it's just, I had to put a little thing on it to remind me not to use this ink in a pen, because otherwise it'll stain it.
Yeah, Mouse says Noodler's is great inks. I don't believe the rumors. I'm kind of that way too. The only Noodler's ink I have is X Feather, and the few times I've used it, it's great ink, I think. But it's just like anything. Particular inks have their applications, and as long as you kind of have your guidelines and stick to them, I don't see the problem really.
Well, if an ink doesn't dry ever, I don't know. And it has
that's kind of a problem.
It has to flow fast, and Noodler's ink always took too long to dry, and the flow was never good enough for me, because I need to move my hand fast for the calligraphy I do.
Right.
So I just have a hard time with their pens for that reason.
Nick says Wasky loves Rohrer and Klingner Scabiosa, which is an iron gall ink.
That's a good one too.
I like the regular Salix or whatever, the regular blue-black iron gall that Rohrer and Klingner makes. But I like Pelican Blue Black better. I just do. And Pelican Blue Black is actually an iron gall. And it's banned in America. And I have some. I have some bootleg ink, some contraband.
This ink is also very wet, watery, and will bleed through the next page.
Lexington Gray is fantastic, and Black Eel, Mighty Mouse says. Black Eel is that like it's like a lubricated ink or something, isn't it?
It's for doing calligraphy with, basically.
I thought you were going to say it's for cooking.
Nope, for calligraphy.
Okay.
Friedrich says he left a whole pen in a jar of Bay State Blue for a year, and it ate nothing. Well, yeah, everybody's like scared to death of Bay State Blue.
I am.
It is like the problem child Noodler's ink.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nope.
Friedrich says they ban all the good stuff. Yeah, we can't get Pelican Blue Black and fucking Kinder Eggs. What's wrong with this country?
And you can't get jarts anymore. And
you can't play jarts. What the hell?
Thalidomide is off the shelf.
I know.
Where's
They took my Mercurochrome off the market too. Damn it!
Where's saccharin when I want it?
They took the lead out of my gasoline. Them bastards.
Yeah. My power cord is not refurbishing the power to my thing, so I may be on a. Oh,
what does that say? Oh, saccharin. Woo! Oh yeah, it may cause cancer in laboratory animals.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Oh, Sako says that's exactly what I'm looking for. Aphex, Tame Black, Pelican and Jaerbon. I had good luck with Aurora and Pilot Soku. Depending on my paper, feathers on thinner paper.
Well, I like good old Waterman. What's wrong with Waterman?
The problem with Waterman is sometimes if you have a wide channeled feed like the Waterman pens, sometimes it's too wet and it will flow right up. And like I can't use Waterman in my Waterman 12 because it'll bloop all over the page. It'll run right out.
Oh, okay.
But if I use it in like my more modern pens with all the feeds, then it kind of holds it back a little bit and I can use it fluidly.
Okay.
And it's for the same reason I can't use the purple Waterman ink. I really love the purple Waterman ink, but it bleeds through everything.
No, purple bleeds, green bleeds. I don't know what's wrong with those two colors, but all greens I have bled, and purples too. So reds are fine, blues are fine.
Reds tend to stain the pen though.
Yeah, Mouse says Diamine blacks are nice too, but none of them are waterproof. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Onyx Black. I use that a whole bunch. But yeah, it's not at all waterproof, really.
Hey, Effects and all, do you have a sample vial you could send me some of that?
Of Onyx Black?
Yeah.
I have a whole extra bottle of it.
Oh, wow. I mean, I don't need that much, but I mean, I try inks, so.
I have like maybe 10 sample vials, and sample vials are actually what I fill my pens out of. So I don't have any extra vials to spare, or else I would consider doing that. So if someone could get me some sample vials, I'll send them some ink. I don't care, but
I have sample vials.
I see that. Yeah, you definitely do.
I'll send you some.
Diamine makes a Registrar's Black. Oh yeah, Registrar's Black is it an iron gall or is it just like a waterproof black? I'm not sure.
I'm gonna have to say goodbye to everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, I need to get off here too because I haven't even gotten any food yet and I'm starving to death.
Me either.
So let's talk soon.
Okay.
And be good. And it was good
Have a
to
good
see
day.
Brussels on here finally. Okay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.